Hi, welcome to another edition of Geeks Cantina. My name is Geeks, and thank you for everyone that has watched my previous videos. And fingers crossed, there'll be more content to come in the near future. I was trying something a little bit different with my previous one with the COVID vaccination, but I explained all that on the video. But today, I am going to be talking about something I've been waiting for quite some time, almost 10 years, in fact. Today I'm going to be talking about Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. Now what it is, it's all three original Mass Effect games all thrown into one package. They're all on one disc, and they're all been remastered and brought up to scratch for previous generation and graphical standards. And that, so I've had a bit of time to play on it. Not a huge amount because I've had a busy weekend with all of my vaccinations and socialising, which is quite hard work at the moment. But I managed to clock about 11.5 hours, and there's more going to be talking about the original Mass Effect game because me being me, I have to play them all in consecutive order in order to get to the finale, because I like that big payoff at the end, but we'll get to that very, very shortly. Now, I played the original Mass Effect game in 2007 when it first came out, and yeah, it was a good game. It was fairly revolutionary as a shooting role play game. Excellent story for me, above all else. Above all else, gameplay wise, graphics wise, which was pretty good at the time. I think the story above everything else was the thing that caught me the most. It was a very, very engaging story, engaging characters, and it was all wrapped up in this beautiful science fiction setting, and it was very, very fleshed out, very, very well rounded. What I'll say about the remastered Mass Effect is that yes, it is still the same game principally. The bones are still there from the 2007 game, but then they have made improvements. Graphics, and they've upgraded the HUD to make it more coincide with Mass Effect 2 and 3. There's been numerous things, and there's numerous videos out there that will do side-by-side comparisons that will go deep dive into it. But what I will say is that it is still a very, very enjoyable game. Once I got past those first couple of hours when it just felt, just want to get into the core of the game. Once the game opens out again, and you start exploring the galaxy and doing all the missions and that, I'm actually very much enjoying the game like I did back in 2007, 2008, and that. But the one thing I will say about it, with all the graphical upgrades, the gameplay upgrades, all the cosmetic stuff that makes it look a little bit more impressive, it is still an old game. It's still very basic game particularly compared to 2 and 3, but compared to games of today's standards, don't expect a AAA summer blockbuster 2021 type game, because this isn't what this is. This is more of a nostalgia trip, I would say. They've put a fresh coat of paint on it. Like I said, they've upgraded a few bits and pieces to make it feel a little bit more modern. But at the end of the day, it isn't a modern game. It isn't up to date. But for me, as a lifetime gamer and a massive fan of the Mass Effect trilogy, I got a real kick out of playing this game, and I'm still playing it, and I will be playing it a bit more later on. So I mean, I've been enjoying playing the first one. I've had a few sneak peeks at the second and the third one as well. And again, even though I think the second one came out, 3 years later. I think it was in 2010. Third one came out in 2012. So these games are still of course, still quite old, but by graphics standards, I mean, you've got games like The Last of Us and Red Dead Redemption, where the quality of the games are just so high now. But when you play these old games, even though they've got a fresh coat of paint on them, as I said, you can still see that they're very old. And the thing is, particularly with gaming, it's the same with movies, is that the technology moves very, very quickly. The things you can do now, you wouldn't even be able to do 10 years ago when the second Mass Effect game came out. However, all that being said, the second Mass Effect game is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, because It was the one I enjoyed the most. It's got an incredible ending. It's got incredible characters, and I will say, I have still got my original PlayStation 3 copy of Mass Effect. This is what I used to have to play until Friday. Granted, I hadn't played it for a very long time, but what I've also got, I've even got my Mass Effect 3 PlayStation 3 version, because I couldn't part with them. I couldn't have a life without any Mass Effect games. So I've been holding on to those for a very, very long time on the off chance they were actually going to do a remaster for the trilogy, which they have. So I'm looking forward to playing the second one, which the rate I'm going to probably cane through the rest of Mass Effect, the first game, pretty quick. And the second and third game are much bigger, so they're going to take me a bit more time. But I'm certainly looking forward to the second one and the third one. Third one, particularly the end, was quite divisive. I didn't mind it, if I'm really honest. I didn't mind it at all. I think it's the same with any of these big things. You know, you get such a fan base for these things. It's the same with Game of Thrones. It was the same with, you know, Rise of Skywalker, just to quote a TV series and a movie, is you get such a fan base, and there's so much hype behind these stories, behind these characters, behind these projects, that no matter what they done, no matter what the studios do with the games, with the TV shows, with the movies, doesn't matter what they did, how they ended it, that was gonna annoy someone. You know, and those people are always very, very vocal about how they didn't like this, how they didn't like that, rather than actually taking gratitude from the fact that they've been given such a gift as the Mass Effect trilogy, as Game of Thrones, as Star Wars. I'm getting really fired up here. And as Star Wars. And, you know, and so the end of Mass Effect 3, again, was very divisive. A lot of people didn't like it. I, for one, didn't mind it because it had an ending, or did it? You know, it still left a few questions, you know, for the... and as we know, those of us that like the Mass Effect games, there's going to be another one coming out soon. Well, not soon, but there's another one in production. You know, even, like, the people didn't like Mass Effect Andromeda. Yes, okay, it may be the deformed step-cousin of Mass Effect that lives in the ceiling, but it's still a good game. It's still a Mass Effect game. People are so ungrateful. Yes, it wasn't. You can't hold a torch to the original trilogy, but the original trilogy was supposed to be an original trilogy. I'm getting really fired up. I need to take a minute. Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda is a standalone story. Whether that was intended to or not, but I think it will be, because it didn't have as critical acclaim as the original trilogy. But the original trilogy was planned as a trilogy. When they made the first game, it was like, let's make this into an episodic story where your actions can affect the end of each of the games, and then it culminates in a big climax of the whole story. It was planned that way. You know, the Mass Effect Andromeda was a byproduct of the success of the Mass Effect trilogy. Did it meet up to the same standards? No. Is it a bad game? Questionable. But I, for one, didn't mind it because it's a Mass Effect game and I love the franchise, in case you didn't know. Anyway, so I needed to take a breath there for a minute. I went on a bit of a tirade there. I feel very strongly about these things and that. But, yes, I'm just going to pick it up again because I love holding this. I love it. I love it, I love it. Thank you, BioWare, for giving the fan base such a gift as the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I, for one, am going to love replaying these games, and I, for one, am going to love continuing to play these games over and over and over again, because you know what? They're worth it. Big time. So anyway, sorry, I got a bit caught up in that one. I was pacing, getting a bit caught up, getting a bit fired up, and but a bit of passion. That's what I'm all about. I love this stuff. It's the reason why I go on these rants. Anyone who knows me knows that if I get on a rant about something, it's because I feel very strongly. I have these strong opinions, and it annoys me. It annoys me when people are so ungrateful for the things that they are given that, you know, other people don't necessarily have. But don't get me started again. Anyway, Gekes is going to calm down. Gekes is going to go and have a shower, because Gekes is a little bit sweaty from getting fired up so much. Sexy, I know. But, anyway, that's another video from me. It's probably not as long as the other ones, because as you could probably see, I could probably rant on about this stuff for a very, very long time, but I wanted to keep it relatively short because I haven't had a huge amount of hours with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I might do a longer one when I've played a bit more, but for now, this is all you got. So, if you're watching this and you're a fan of Mass Effect, you weren't sure about the Legendary Edition, go buy it. It's worth the money. You get 3 games. 3 games in one hit. Not only 3 games, but 3 awesome games in one hit. So it's definitely worth the money. It's a little bit pricey, you know, £55, you know, depending on where you buy it from. But I paid £55 for it, and it was money well spent because I love it. If you love it, it's worth it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the price. I would have paid 80 quid for it. Definitely. Anyway, but that's the end of my video. I'm going to calm down because I've got myself pretty worked up. So, to wrap it all up, thank you for watching this video. I hope my rants haven't really turned anyone off. And I apologise for anyone who I may have offended. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, me included. So this is just about how I feel about things. If you've got your own feelings, then fine, make your own videos and that. So, yeah, buy Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It is amazing. So thanks for coming into the Cantina one more time. My name is Gekes, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.